week 4 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few wide receivers. I have his sleepers this week. The first receiver, Luther Burden III of the Chicago Bears. He had his breakout game last week, but he's still out there in tons of fantasy leagues in 85%. So the first 2 weeks of the year, barely saw the field. Week 1 versus the Vikings to catch -3 yards. Week 2 with the Lions to catch 5 yards, 2 targets. And then week 3 versus Dallas, he was more in there in 3 receiver sets early in the game before they blew it open. And the fourth quarter ran the clock out. The carry 7 yards, 3 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown on 3 targets. So this Bear team likes him a lot. We know, obviously, Ben Johnson going back with the Detroit Lions as the coordinator the last few years. Jameson Williams, he liked as that deep ball threat. And I think Luther Burden in this offense could play a similar role to Jameson Williams. And also, they used good draft capital in the second round to bring Burden in this season. So we saw the upside. We saw potential, obviously, in that week 3 game. Even though it is the Dallas Cowboys, this guy's got the speed. Decent route runner for a rookie, I think. And this week at the Vegas Raiders, another defense that can't stop anyone. 5th most points to receivers on the year. I think Burden could go out there and be a surprise sleeper option. Once again, next receiver, Jalen Tolbert of the Dallas Cowboys. So Tolbert, he's had some experience in the starting lineup with injuries over the last few seasons, or just this Cowboy team not addressing that number 2 wide receiver position. And now with CeeDee Lamb out and George Pickens moving in as the number 1 wide out, Jalen Tolbert's going to get an opportunity. And last season, I thought he had an all-right year. 49 catches, 610 yards, and 7 touchdowns on 79 targets. And obviously, so far this year, he hasn't really seen the field. Week 1, barely saw it at Philly. Week 2 versus the Giants, 2 catches, 16 yards, 4 targets. And then last week at the Bears in week 3, 3 catches, 24 yards, 2-point conversion, 6 targets. So he's a nice slot receiver. Him and Dak Prescott do have a good rapport. Where they've hit on some big plays the last couple seasons is Tolbert and Dak Prescott. And now Tolbert, I think, is going to step in with Keontae Turpin still being that number 3 receiver and that gadget guy where they line him up in different spots of the formation. So like I said, Tolbert, a deep sleeper, out there in 97% of fantasy leagues. And it wouldn't be surprising to me if he goes out there and carves out like a 12, 13-point day in PPR leagues. And the final wide receiver, Dontayvion Wicks of the Green Bay Packers. I had him on the list last week, but this Packer team didn't do anything in the passing game. So Wicks, so far this season, we really haven't seen much. Week 2 was his best game, and it was a 4-catch, 44-yard, 6-target game. But this week, what a matchup this is at the Cowboys. Give up the most points to wide receivers, and someone in that receiving room has to go out there and break out, I think, this week at the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, Matthew Golden, in my opinion, is the favorite to have a breakout game, but Dontayvion Wicks, we've seen some games from him as well on and off over the last couple seasons where he goes out there and surprises and could put up some numbers. So this week at the Cowboys, like I said, one of these receivers is going to have a big game, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if it could be Wicks. It's a few wide receivers I have as sleepers for week 4 of the fantasy football season.